So welcome to 9.4. So we learned the rules for dividing powers in 9.3, I mean, for multiplying powers in 9.3. Now we're going to learn the rules for dividing them. Right, so 1/2 times 10x. So, right, you can cancel 1/2, the 2, and the 10. But you also can realize if you have half of 10x's, right, you better have 5x's, right? That's half times 10x, half of 10x's. If you have half of 10 apples, you have 5 apples. It is the same. So finish the rest of them. So 2/5 times 15x's, 5 cancels with the 15, you get a 3, and that is 6x. If you have 15 apples, what is 2/5 of them? 6 apples. If you have 2/5 of 15x's, you have 6x's. Should I draw that out? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? If you divide those into fifths, right, we'd have 1/5 is 3, another fifth, another fifth. Unfortunately, that one spilled over, right? So you have 5 sections, fifths. If you have 2 of those fifths, you have 6x's. 2/5 of 15x is 6x. 5 over 5 is 1. This is just x over 1, which is x. Now these x's cancel, just like these 5's cancel. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times x is x. These x's cancel, but this is not 7, right? Because that 7 is in the denominator. So what answer is it? It's 1/7. Right? This is 5x divided by 5. This is x divided by 7x. But we're not going to write it that way. We're going to write it as a fraction, and we're going to use canceling to simplify it. So let's look at the rules. If you have x to the 4th divided by x, that's how we're going to write that. You have x times x times x times x in the numerator and an x in the denominator. You can just cancel the matching x's there, and you have x cubed. But notice if you flip it upside down, now this cancels, and you don't get x cubed, you get 1 over x cubed. Now, if these both cancel, right, there's a 1 there and the 1 there, we have x to the 0, right? There are no more x's left. And when you have the exact same thing top and bottom in a fraction, what do you always get, right? When you have 7 over 7, 13 over 13, and x over x, unless x is 0, you're going to get 1. If you can't have an x being 0 in the denominator, that's undefined. But other than that, that equals 1. So canceling. We cancel the terms with the same base. Right? So x cubed divided by x squared, you get 1 extra x in the numerator. If it's x squared divided by x cubed, though, you get 1 extra x in the denominator. So let's see this. So I'm going to cross out all the fewer ones. There's only 2 there, x squared. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. And I'm going to say I'm going to write this out the long way. This is x cubed over 1, which is x cubed. Right, so you're going to treat that 2 just like x. So we're going to cross out all those. And then 8 minus 3 is 5. This is 2 to the 5th over 1, which is 2 to the 5th. Yes, you can skip the middle step. Right, but this is why I showed that. This 1y crosses out, and we have 2 here. This is not y squared. The y squared is in the denominator. This is 1 over y squared. You treat that 9 just like x and y. Those cross out. There's 3 9's in the denominator. It's 1 over 9 cubed. And again, let me just show this out the long way. 9 squared is 9 times 9. 9 to the 5th is 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. These cancel. And we have 9 times 9 times 9 in the denominator. In other words, we have 1 over 9 cubed. Right? All of those cancel, and you get x to the 0. No x's left, or 1. Everything to the 0 power equals 1. So these all cancel. You get x to the 0, which will be 1. And then those y's cancel, and you get 2 up here. And so you get 1 times y squared, but we're not going to leave it that way. The answer is y squared. So x doesn't matter in that problem. Whatever you tell me x is, it could be a million or 0.3 repeating, doesn't matter. The answer is going to be whatever y is squared. Right, you treat those 7s and 8s, they're bases of powers, just like x and y, you treat them the same. So these 7s cross out, and you have 2 there. This 1 8 crosses out, you have 2 there. This is 7 squared over 8 squared. And that says simplify, so you can just leave it that way. Now, if I tell you to evaluate, then you better do 7 times 7, 49, 8 times 8, 64, and tell me 49 64ths. Notice the difference between making something simpler, simplifying, and evaluating. All right, so this is my recommendation. This has both, right? It has multiplication right there because, right, when you don't see anything to do, it's always multiply. And it has division right there. It has both. My recommendation is do any multiplying first, then do your canceling. So 5 cubed times 5 to the 6th is 5 to the 9th. Add your exponents. And then we can cross out those 5s, and we have 5 to the 7th over 1, or 5 to the 7th. So again, anywhere you see multiplying, do that. That's x to the 15th, right? 5 plus 10. Those cancel. We have 2 x's in the bottom, or x times x in the bottom, 1 over x squared. So here we have y to the 5th times y squared, y to the 7th, over y to the 7th, right? They all cross out. You have 0 y's or 1. Right? Negative 4 times negative 4 cubed. All right, over negative, and you need those parentheses. Those go away. We have 1 extra negative 4. It's 1 over negative 4 to the 1st, also known as negative 1/4. All right, coefficients will actually get divided, just like they actually got multiplied. What are the coefficients here? Right, the 15 and the 5. They're not part of the power. They're in front of the power. The power is x to the 9th and x squared. Right, so we're going to cancel this. The 5 becomes a 1. Right, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Right, all these x's cross out, and there's 7, 9 minus 2 left. So this is 3x to the 7th over 1, which is 3x to the 7th. Okay, so negative 7 divided by negative 7, 1. Negative 42 divided by negative 7, positive 6. Two negatives make a positive. X cubed goes away. 5 minus 3 is 2. Y to the first goes away. 4 minus 1 is 3. So what's left? We have x squared in the numerator. In the denominator, we have 6y cubed. Oh, that looks very tough. Well, now this has multiplying and division, so let's do that. So 8x squared x to the 6th is 8x to the 8th, right? Because you got to add those two, times the y cubed. Down here we have 16x to the 5th, 4 plus 1, y to the 5th. I would do the multiplying first. Now I'm going to cancel. 8 divided by 8 is 1, 16 divided by 8 is 2. X to the 5th crosses out, x to the 8th becomes x cubed. Y cubed cancels out, y to the 5th becomes y squared, 5 minus 3. All right, so we have 1x cubed, also known as x cubed, left up here. And we have a 2 down here, and y squared. It's x cubed over 2y squared. All right, so simplify that. Now, this one's a little harder because 12 doesn't go into 16, but they're both divisible by 4, right? So 12 divided by 4 is 3, 16 divided by 4 is 4. The y cubed cancels out, 5 minus 3 is 2, 4y squared over 3, right? We actually simplify, you simplify that just like you would simplify 16/12 into 4/3, right? Now instead of writing it like that, right, I just cross it out and actually do the division. So same thing here, 6/9, both divisible by 3, 6 divided by 3, 2, 9 divided by 3, 3. Those x's cancel, we have 1x left. Those y's cancel, we have 2 y's left. In the numerator, we have 2xy squared. In the denominator, we have 3. 2xy squared over 3. Yeah, I don't, by the way, say thirds for these. When there's letters involved, that's where you use the word over. All right, so another one of these question marks. All right, the question mark is above x. So it turns out, right, none of this other stuff matters. Yeah. There's a 1 and a 5, and that becomes y squared. But how do we get x to the 4th down there? We have x squared over x question mark, and somehow we get x to the 4th down there. Well, the only way is if the question mark equals 6, right? If the question mark equals 6, then that would be x to the fourth. All right, so we multiply scientific notation using these rules. We divide scientific notation using these rules. All right, so 6 divided by 2 is 3. All right, 10 to the ninth times 10 to the fourth, that cancels out, and you get 5. 3 times 10 to the fifth. Right? 9 divided by 2. Now, let's remember about scientific notation, right? We don't write, that is 9/2. It is also 4.5. But we need a decimal for a scientific notation. We're not going to write 4.5 or 9/2. So what's the decimal? Right? 9 divided by 2, right, goes in 4. Hopefully you can do it in your head. It's 4.5. So 4.5 times, and those cross out, times 10 to the sixth. Right? The decimal point's in the right spot right after the 4. Scientists found 3 asteroids with a total mass of 8.1 times 10 to the ninth kilograms. Find the average. All right, so to find the average mass of the 3, you divide by 3. So this is, all right, so the average mass of these 3 is that divided by 3. So we have to do 8.1 divided by 3. 3 goes into 8 twice. Remainder 2, decimal straight up, 1 straight down. 3 goes into 21 7 times, so it's 2.7 times 10 to the ninth, right? Because there's nothing to cancel with the 9. Oh, and it's a word problem, so it's kilograms. So let's practice this. So I like to do the multiplying first, negative 13 to the 7th over negative 13 to the 4th. These cancel, and the answer is negative 13 with parentheses around it, cubed. All right. You have multiplying, that's x to the 11th, because there's a 1 there. On the bottom, you have x to the 13th. All of those cancel. There's 2 left down there. It's not x squared. It's the reciprocal of that, 1 over x squared. 6 goes into 54 exactly 9 times. The x squareds cancel out. That becomes a 3. Y squareds cancel. That becomes a 1. On the top, we have 9y. We're not going to write y to the first. And we have 1 times x cubed, or x cubed. The answer is 9y over x cubed. 18 doesn't go into 45, but they're both divisible by 9, so that simplifies to 2/5, right? 18 45ths would simplify to 2/5. Those cancel. There's 1 extra y. It ends up being 2 over 5y. So there are 5 grains of rice with a total weight of 7.65 times 10 to the negative second grams. Find the average weight. So that, right, this is a small number, the weight of a grain of rice, divided by 5. So we're going to actually have to do some work here. So in 1, with a 2 remainder, decimal straight up, 6 straight down, 5 times 5 is 25. Bring that 5 down. And now we have 1.53 times 10 to the negative second, and it's grams. Good luck with the homework.